My piece is called Here and Now, and I originally started working with a lot of ideas about actually where my grandparents live, and they own a couple acres of land, and my grandpa actually was in the junkyard business, and so his whole yard has like lots of random car parts, and in the winter it looks really kind of like raw and distorted with the snow on it, and there's just kind of all these random pieces, and it just kind of inspired me because that's kind of how I guess I think about life, you know. There's all this stuff that kind of needs to be uncovered and all these like random pieces, and you kind of have to figure out how they fit together. So from there I chose my dancers, and I wanted to work with improvisation, and so actually all of my dancers, I had one-on-one rehearsals instead of a group rehearsal, and through a variety of exercises they created their own choreography, so it's all their original work, and it just stems from a variety of, you know, different kind of exercises each day, like what their favorite movement is, what inspires them. I think one exercise is even like dance like when you were 4 years old or something, so just kind of like trying to pick apart different things. And so it's kind of like a movement research for each of the 4 dancers, and then we got together and we just we put it all together, and I hope that the audience appreciates it for I guess each individual dancer's specific technique and style of dancing. I really wanted them to showcase their, what I call, genuine movement style, and it's not from learning technique or taking years of dance classes. It is what is genuine movement to your body, and I think all movement, whether it's walking or gestures, is part of your dance vocabulary, and so I really want to stimulate that, and so I guess it's more for the audience to appreciate each individual's kind of movement vocabulary.
One of the pieces that I choreographed is a solo. It is based on like connections. No one really knows this in the audience, but it's called Sincerely with a comma, kind of like a letter. And it's, I asked a lot of people to mail me letters and postcards from different places around the world, and so I based the dance on, I structured the dance based on like where the letters came from, and so it originally came up from like this kind of movement, and I thought like, whoa, what is that? And I thought kind of like lines, or like the lines that when you have like one of those boards with a map and the pins and stuff like that. So then I asked people to mail me letters and stuff, and I used some of the things that people say, like I do this thing on the floor like this, because my mom sent me a postcard from the public gardens with ducks on them, stuff like that. So it's kind of like a secret thing that I didn't tell anyone. Surprise. Revealed.
Well, my piece is titled Surrender, and what I'm interested in is how we can, I'm interested in like how we're each, you know, our own unique individual, but then how we can sort of break through those differences to sort of find our common ground. So in my piece I have 3 very different movers, and they start off very separate, but then throughout the dance they sort of come together until finally they sort of, you know, they join to sort of discover their common ground.
I studied abroad in Berlin this summer, and so the first piece that I did is a contemporary piece, and I started it there, and I was inspired by the philosopher Alva Noe, and he talks a lot about like human consciousness and what it means to be conscious and aware of yourself, and so my first piece is examining like how do we create memories, how do those memories eventually fade away, and like what do we choose to remember. And it's kind of like you watch the whole dance forward and backwards, performed by different dancers.
My other piece is called, what is it called? It's called Keeping Things Whole, and it's a continuation of a duet that I worked on last year when I was abroad in London, and it originally was just a duet, and then I added another duet into it, and it's really just working with like harmonic opposition, so like people going like this, and then it also kind of has this sort of discovering like each other and discovering kind of like playful thing that people see. And then the second duet is also, it's I kind of focused on like puzzle pieces and trying to have movements that fit together. So some of the stuff that they're doing, even when they're separate, fits together if they were to do it together.
My piece is called Hortus Corpus. I've been working off of images from an artist called Jan Fabre, and he's a contemporary artist. He's done these huge installation pieces that involve beetle exoskeletons, and they're green and they're metallic-y and very striking, and I sort of built this other world off of these images.
The piece is called For Egon, and it's based on the artwork of Egon Schiele. He was very prolific in his figure drawings and watercolor paintings of particularly nude models, but I was just fascinated with how he depicted bodies, and it just made me question the relationship he had with these models. And so my piece is playing off of that and examining the relationship between the artist and the model, and perhaps some parallels between the relationship between artist and model to choreographer and dancer, and then to performers, to the spectators, the audience.
I just wanted to do a piece that was like really awesome and like high energy and fun, because sometimes I feel like dance can just be like too like in your head, you know. It's like, oh, I have this idea that I want to get out and put on people, and like sometimes the audience just is like doesn't really get it, and they're like put off by dance a lot of times. And I feel like it's nice in venues like this to have like hip hop